The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a story woven deep in the fabric of history, begins with the end of the 19th century. As the Ottoman Empire, which had reigned supreme for centuries, began to crumble, two powerful ideologies emerged from the ashes: Zionism and Arab nationalism. Zionism, born from the desire of the Jewish people for a homeland, was a response to centuries of persecution. Theodor Herzl, the father of modern political Zionism, envisioned a sovereign Jewish state where Jews could live free from fear and oppression. On the other side, Arab nationalism arose, fueled by the dream of a united Arab state, free from foreign rule. The Arab people longed for self-determination, sovereignty, and the preservation of their cultural and historical heritage. In the midst of these rising tensions, the Balfour Declaration of 1917 came into play. Issued by the British government, this document expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration, while promising to uphold the civil and religious rights of the existing non-Jewish communities, set the stage for discord. The aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust led to a significant increase in Jewish immigration to Palestine. The world, shocked by the extent of the atrocities committed against the Jews, became more sympathetic to the Zionist cause. However, this influx of Jewish immigrants exacerbated the existing tensions with the Arab community in Palestine. With the stage set, the conflict was about to take a turn with the establishment of a new state. In 1948, a new player entered the stage, the State of Israel, a development that ignited the first Arab-Israeli War. This pivotal moment in history was set in motion by the United Nations Partition Plan, a strategy designed to divide the British Mandate of Palestine into two separate states, one Jewish, one Arab. This plan, however, was met with strong opposition from the Arab nations. They rejected the proposal, standing firmly against the establishment of a Jewish state on what they considered to be Arab land. The stage was set for conflict, and as the British Mandate ended, the State of Israel was proclaimed, sparking the onset of the First Arab-Israeli War. While this war was a victory for Israel, it was a catastrophe for the Palestinian people. They refer to this period as Nakba, or the catastrophe, marking the displacement of over 700,000 Palestinians from their homes. Villages were abandoned, families were torn apart, and the social fabric of Palestinian society was irrevocably transformed. This mass displacement resulted in a significant Palestinian diaspora, the effects of which are still felt today. The 1948 war was not just a military conflict, it was a social and humanitarian crisis. It sowed the seeds of resentment, mistrust, and anger that would fuel further conflicts in the years to come. The war ended with a series of armistice agreements in 1949, but the peace was tenuous and the region remained a hotbed of tension. This war marked the beginning of a series of conflicts, a cycle of violence that would continue for decades. It was the birth of a new nation, but also the beginning of one of the most protracted and contentious conflicts of the 20th century. Scene script. Fast forward to 1967, a year that would further alter the landscape of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict with the Six-Day War. Let's dive right into the heart of the matter. The Six-Day War, also known as the June War, was a pivotal moment in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It was a brief but intense conflict that erupted in the summer of 1967 between Israel and Arab states, including Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. So, what sparked this war? Tensions had been building for years, primarily over territorial disputes and the rights of Palestinian refugees. The immediate trigger, however, was Egypt's decision to block Israeli access to the Straits of Tiran, a move that Israel considered a casus belli, a justification for war. The war itself was swift and devastating. Israel launched a preemptive strike on Egypt, effectively disabling their air force. This was quickly followed by ground offensives against Egypt in the Sinai Peninsula, against Jordan in the West Bank, and against Syria in the Golan Heights. The aftermath of the war was a dramatic shift in the region's geopolitical landscape. In just 6 days, Israel had seized control of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula. This effectively tripled the size of the territory under Israeli control and left Israel in charge of a large Palestinian population. This war also had profound implications for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It marked the beginning of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories, an occupation that remains a contentious issue to this day. The war also led to an increase in Palestinian nationalism and a renewed focus on the Palestinian cause on the world stage. The outcome of this war left Israel in control of territories home to hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The Six-Day War and its aftermath are a crucial part of understanding the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a complex and deeply rooted issue that continues to shape the Middle East today. The latter part of the 20th century saw 2 significant Palestinian uprisings and a glimmer of hope in the form of the Oslo Accords. This period in history was marked by the First and Second Intifadas, which were large-scale Palestinian uprisings against the Israeli occupation. The First Intifada, which started in 1987, was a grassroots movement that utilized civil disobedience, general strikes, boycotts, and demonstrations as a form of resistance. It was a cry for independence that brought international attention to the Palestinian plight and the harsh realities of the Israeli occupation. On the heels of this came the Second Intifada in 2000, which was much more violent and militarized than its predecessor. Sparked by the failure of the Camp David summit and the provocative visit of Israeli leader Ariel Sharon to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, it led to a wave of suicide bombings and military operations that resulted in a high toll of civilian casualties on both sides. Amidst this turbulence, the Oslo Accords emerged as a beacon of hope. Initiated in 1993, these agreements between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization marked the first time that both parties officially recognized each other. They established a framework for future negotiations, with the aim of resolving issues such as the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, Israeli settlements, and borders. The accords resulted in the creation of the Palestinian Authority and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from parts of the West Bank and Gaza. However, they were met with opposition from both sides. Many Palestinians felt that the accords did not go far enough in addressing their demands for a sovereign state, while many Israelis feared that they compromised their security. While the Oslo Accords marked an important step towards peace, they were not enough to end the conflict. The peace process stalled, and the issues that were supposed to be resolved by the accords remain contentious points of dispute to this day. Nevertheless, the accords hold historical significance as they marked a shift in the approach to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict from confrontation to negotiation. As we entered the new millennium, hopes for a resolution seemed to fade, with peace processes stalling and tensions escalating. The year 2000 saw the momentous Camp David summit, a meeting that promised the dawn of an era of reconciliation. Unfortunately, the summit ended in disappointment. The issues at hand simply proved too complex, too deeply ingrained in the psyche of both nations to allow for a simple solution. The next significant event to shape the conflict was the 2005 Gaza disengagement. This was a unilateral decision by the Israeli government to remove all Israeli settlements from the Gaza Strip. A bold move, indeed, but one that was met with a host of challenges. The vacuum left by the Israelis was quickly filled by Hamas, a Palestinian political organization with a military wing, known for its resistance against Israel. This takeover resulted in a shift in the power dynamics and further strained the already tenuous relations between Israel and Palestine. In the years that followed, we witnessed an unfortunate series of conflicts. The Gaza War in 2008, the Operation Pillar of Defense in 2012, and the Operation Protective Edge in 2014, to name a few. Each of these conflicts took a devastating toll on the lives of countless civilians, further deepening the chasm of enmity between the two nations. These recent conflicts have had far-reaching impacts. They have not only resulted in loss of life and property, but also intensified the sense of fear, mistrust, and animosity between Israelis and Palestinians. This is a stagnation that fuels unrest, a cycle of violence that seems to perpetuate itself. Today, the conflict remains unresolved, a bitter testament to a century of failed negotiations and unending violence. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a complex and deeply rooted issue, has seen a century of strife and failed attempts at peace. We've journeyed through the emergence of this conflict, borne witness to pivotal wars, and observed the various attempts at peace. We've seen the birth of Israel in 1948 and the war that followed, the Six-Day War and its aftermath, and the Intifadas and Oslo Accords. We've also observed the current state of stagnation and unrest. Each of these moments has shaped the narrative of this enduring struggle, painting a picture of a conflict so deeply embedded in the identities and histories of the people involved that it seems almost unresolvable. Yet the story continues to evolve, with moments of hope punctuating the despair. As we continue to witness the unfolding of this conflict, we are reminded of the importance of understanding its history, for it is only through understanding that we can hope for resolution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's a complex and multifaceted story, layered with centuries of history, and understanding it is no small feat. But you've taken the first step. We hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity and desire to dig deeper into the subject. If you found this enlightening, consider spreading the word. Let's make this a collective journey towards knowledge and understanding. For those of you who yearn to continue this journey of discovery, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have a wealth of educational content designed to expand your horizons and challenge your perspectives. History isn't just about the past. It's about understanding the world we live in today, and perhaps how we can shape a better tomorrow. So, let's not stop here. Our quest for knowledge is an ongoing adventure, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Remember, by sharing knowledge, we can foster understanding and hopefully contribute to a peaceful resolution. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.